Hi, Sally-Shakti. Just going to read you a little bit more of Jack Kerouac's Mexico City Blues. It's difficult to, it's tricky to pick like single poems, single choruses from the collection, because whilst they all have their gems and bits and pieces stand alone, they also really, for me, reading them together is having a really powerful and beautiful cumulative effect. No one chorus can really replicate the impact of reading these collected poems consecutively. Like I've said in my previous video, there's humor, there's playfulness, there's sound, there's rhythm, there's contemplation, gravity, levity, wordplay, sound play, meditation. I'm really loving just immersing myself in this poetry and in this soundscape and in this lifescape. I feel like when I kind of say it to myself, I'm reading Jack. It feels like reading Jack. It's everything's here. In fact, I was having a conversation with a lady in a lingerie shop on Marylebone next door to Daunt Books. It's called Livy. It's a new lingerie shop from France, and it's the only store in England currently. And I really liked this kind of bright yellow bra and knickers set with an open back black top over the top. I keep thinking about maybe going back to get that because it was really nice. So I was having a really nice chat with the person in the shop, and she was talking to me about the book because I just bought it, and she said that she loves the beats as well, and she was kind of speaking against a comment that somebody made that what the beats lacked was editing. And I get that, I do get that, but that's something that I love actually as well about reading the beats. And when I read Kerouac or Ginsberg, and there's so much permission for me as a writer when, I read their work, and it's not only the hard gems, the perfect gems. It's everything's there, everything, all the rhythms of life, all of the unstructured and incomplete and unworkable moments are there with the gems that we know that have become the anthems of that generation of writers, and I really love that. And there's a bit I'm probably, it's going to be tricky to find it, but there's a bit in one of these choruses where he writes what's there, he writes what's present. So one of the lines is like, oh, what do you call it, or what's the name of that thing, and it's there, it's all there. And I love that inclusivity and that inclusion, that everything's present, everything's welcome, everything's part of the poem, everything's part of the sound of life. In Kerouac in particular, it's all there, and it's filtered. It is subjective. It's condensed into a rhythm, but it's also simultaneously unfiltered and unedited and raw, and holding the intention that all of life is here and all of life is welcome, and present and equally valid and valuable as the subject matter of poetry. And I love that. As a writer, it gives me a lot of permission to play and to experiment. And I noticed that my particular aesthetic with any content I create, including these videos, is raw, rough, unfinished, get it done and put it out there. Even with my PhD thesis, ultimately it was get it done and hand it in. Because nobody benefits by keep holding things back, and often with time and distance and objectivity, a piece of work that I've created will seem better than I thought it was. And of course, the parts that could be polished up and cut away also are clearer. But really, for me right now, the energy and the momentum is to create and put it out there. So here is Jack with the 50th chorus of Mexico City Blues. Maybe I'm crazy, and my parts are scattered still, didn't gather, and when form was passing out the window of the giver. I'm going to start that bit again, give it some different rhythm. Maybe I'm crazy and my parts are scattered still, didn't gather 'em when form was passing out the window of the giver. So I'm looking for derangement to bring me landward back, through logic's cold moon air where water everywhere appears from magic gems, and Aspasiax, the nymph of India by the sea, dances princely mincing churly jargots in the oral eloquent air of tense, canopied mystery. 10,000 Buddhas hiding everywhere. How can I be crazy, even here? Or wait, maybe I'm an agloon doomed to be spitted on the igloo stone of some north mad. I love in that last line that some and north are both capitalized. They both start with a capital there, some north. There's so much playfulness in this. There's so much dance and rhythm of life, and the movement in and out, the weaving in and out of different thought forms, different meditations, different activities and subject matters and sounds and contemplations that weave across and span between different choruses through the whole structure. It's something that I really, really am loving as I move my way through this collection as a whole. So that's my share for today. Thank you, and sending you lots of love.